David Baye here for MuscularDevelopment.com. I am in Canada for the 2014 Toronto Super Show, hanging out here with John De La Rosa. John, show number 4 for 2014. You've had a busy but very successful year so far. Second place in Orlando, third place in Brazil, third place in New York. 3 top 5 finishes, 3 top 3 finishes, I should say, so far in 2014. Talk to us about your mindset coming into Toronto. You know, Juan's here. He's bested you a few times, a good friend. So obviously getting on stage against him, you're a competitor, but you're competing against your friend. You know, talk to us a little bit about coming into Toronto.
Well, of course, you always prepare to win, right? We always prep to win, regardless of who's showing up. So I went into this prep the same way I went into New York, Brazil, Orlando. It's to win. Granted, Juan is here, Johnny Jackson's here, Tony Freeman's here. These guys are all great competitors, and other guys that I haven't mentioned. But my idea is to bring the best package to date this year. I think that should be good enough for a win. We'll see what the judges think.
You know, we've talked about just about everything we could talk about in the interviews over the last couple of weeks in Orlando and Brazil, and we hate to make these things repetitive. You know, one of the things I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, you just turned pro a few years ago, and, you know, you've obviously competed against some veterans. You know, we just talked to Tony Freeman. You know, the guy's been a competitor forever, Johnny Jackson as well. You know, I don't know if it's been discussed in interviews before, but, you know, as somebody who's been a bodybuilding fan, I'm assuming your whole life, you know, when you're getting on stage next to these guys that you looked at in magazines and stuff, is it surreal? Is it weird? I mean, or is it just like it's game time and it doesn't matter that I'm standing next to somebody that I've really looked up to for a long time?
Well, I think the first year when I did the New York Pro for my first time out, I competed against Johnny. Johnny came in second to Cedric McMillan that year, and I remember hitting a rear double bicep with Johnny, and Johnny kind of like looks over to me and whispers, "I'm gonna show you how it's done, young buck." And that was a really awesome moment for me, because I grew up watching these guys, and it's been it's surreal every time I get up on stage with them. But I think now, being a professional and being a little bit more seasoned, you're a little bit more professional in the sense that you're going up against these guys for the same prize money, for the same sponsorships. You know, it's a business at the end of the day. So if you give up that little inch just because you're staring over and you're like, oh, all googly-eyed, you might not hit the pose right, you might not be as aggressive, you know what I mean? So I try to be a little bit more professional now and, really go after it. But it is always, an awesome experience going against these guys.
You know, you're a hard guy to critique. You know, obviously one of the fan favorites at MuscularDevelopment.com. But if there is something that was talked about in Orlando and again in New York, is that maybe you're a little too nice on stage. And I know one of the things we were talking about is like people want to see John get aggressive. You know, a little, not like you can't smile on stage, but are we going to see anything different in Toronto?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just a mellow guy. But I think that it's definitely true. There's something to be said for somebody that comes out there and is just aggressive and in your face and wants that win and is showing it. So we're gonna see a little bit of a different John De La Rosa this time. I'm definitely gonna be more aggressive. I'm gonna be hitting my shots and screaming, yelling, doing whatever I gotta do to get the judges' attention. But they're gonna see me.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, guys. We're gonna wrap things up here with John. Let him get back to getting off his feet and laying low with his wife here and a couple of his other friends and fellow MD athlete, Sister Nina back there. Yeah, Guy's the king of being aggressive on stage. Did you work with him a little bit? I said, did you work with him a little bit? The guy says he just pisses John off, and that's what works. And shaves your head. He shaved your head before the show.
Other parts,
Did you? Best of luck to you tomorrow. Again, everybody at MuscularDevelopment.com. The men's prejudging is at 6 o'clock tomorrow night, followed by the finals. Prejudging for all your other divisions is going to start at 9 o'clock. So make sure you're on our thread, following our play-by-play pictures, videos, and everything else you guys are used to from MuscularDevelopment.com. This is David Baye with John De La Rosa from the 2014 Toronto Super Show.